Good morning. How's everybody doing on this fantastic Friday morning? Markets are going up. Bitcoin dominance going down. So has alt season started? Yeah, it's fair to say that. I mean, Bitcoin, the dominance chart's been going down for a couple weeks. Most of your crypto alts are flying. Bitcoin's fresh breakout above all-time highs. I mean, yeah, it's fair to say. Some alts are doing better than others, obviously, and some are not yet rocking and rolling, but maybe your favorite alt will eventually pop. Just give it a chance. Give it some time. As this thing is basically 2 weeks in, there's still plenty of time, I'm assuming. There you go. So there's your dominance chart on the weekly. Been going down for 4 weeks, and this week has been a doozy. And we've seen a lot of cryptos do really well. One of them being Bonk. This thing is flying to the upside this week, currently pulling back, but we'll see if that pullback can hold or not. We did short this thing yesterday, and it hasn't gone anywhere since. So we're going to see if we can't get into a new position today. We're going to try. We make sure that music isn't too loud. Let's get going. I don't know why this thing keeps doing that. Something is broken, I guess. I don't need the bands. So if you want a short bonk, it's pulling back right now. This is called a bearish bounce or a bearish pullback. It's not long-term bearish, it's just intraday bearish. You're down 1%, 1.31% on the day. You can see here how you pulled back from the highs, and then you've been in a period of consolidation since yesterday. Typically, we would want to see this roll over, right? We want to see the consolidation formation break in the direction price was trading when it went into consolidation. It doesn't always work like that, but we're trading lower. We're trading lower here, so we want to see this formation break to the downside. If you do, you would get a measured move. That measured move is approximately going to put you back down here to the yearly opening range. Once again, we don't know that it's going to break to the downside, but here is that move. And then we would just pull this over here and drop it like it's hot right there. So measured move, yearly opening range. Testing intraday VWAP as support. Longer term weekly VWAP down there. And then obviously the July, the monthly VWAP is way lower. I don't exactly know where it is, but it's way lower. So you might see a little bit of wiggle right here. Week open way down there. So, I mean, it's up nice. Shorting things that are really bullish don't tend to work out as often, so make sure your risk is mitigated. Currently on the S&P 500, today has made a fresh all-time high. You go look at that real fast. You'll see right here, your high is 63.57. This is on the ES futures. You made that all-time high right here at 2:15 a.m. That's a London session. So the London session opened up and they sold it. You can see you spent a little bit of time down here around the VWAP bottom edge of the VWAP range, and now you're currently breaking above the volume weighted average price. Here's your NASDAQ, also doing the same thing. Set a fresh all-time high today. 23,309 is that high, also set at the same time. Tesla had a pullback yesterday, but this morning it is gapping up. Apple pretty much chopping sideways yesterday, the day before that, the day before that, the day before that, the day before that. You get it, right? Apple isn't doing anything. Microsoft set fresh all-time highs. Right here's your daily on the Microsoft. Oh, no, that is gold. My bad. That is gold. Gold is not broken down yet. We're waiting to see if gold will break down. You set a fresh all-time high yesterday on Microsoft, and currently you're going to gap just slightly higher. And Nvidia, fresh all-time highs yesterday. We'll see where the advanced decline line is when the market opens, but for right now, we're going to watch Bonk, as I think it may give us an opportunity to the downside if it does indeed break. And earlier, we posted in the Discord about longing Fartcoin because the dominance chart is so weak. Fartcoin pulled into the 786 of the daily range. Here is that fib. So there's your daily range. Here's your daily open. Daily high, daily low is going to be the open. You set the low of day at the open. So this is where we want to see support hold. So I posted this in the Discord when we were testing it, and I posted it on Twitter. Once again, if you're not following me on Twitter, it's at trade_talk_. I do occasionally post setups that I am watching, because sometimes these things set up before we're able to go live. Unfortunately, that was also the case here. So we'll see if this can maintain a bullish bounce off of the 786. You also have the day open right there as well, so you have a little bit of confluence there. This gray line here was just the previous 30-minute high. I want to get rid of that. And let me make sure that's all I have there. All right. And our point of control also has migrated higher right now. It was down here. Point of control was down here. So the value area low, I mean, a lot of things look okay. So if dominance can stay bearish today, then we want to hold this long. And maybe we get a retest of the day high, which is also June's high. So the month of July's candle is a trending candle. So we have a very nice trending candle. We want to see if that trend can continue. It is Friday, so markets will be winding down today. Not the crypto world, though. Crypto's open 24/7 for our us little degens. And then we did break down on hype. Yesterday, we did not put in the 4-hour. What is this thing doing? Why are you doing that? Stop doing that, bro. Sorry. Okay. Yesterday, when we did the live stream, we were saying that let's go back to the 4-hour. We were watching hype. Hype is really hot right now. We'll go into it in a little bit, but for right now, I mean, there's a theory out there that this thing is worth at least $60. So there is an opportunity as we're trading at $45. That's just the theory, though. It doesn't mean it will, right? But clearly you have a bull flag here. And yesterday we were trading like piano keys right here on the 4-hour time frame, sideways and choppy AF. Basically what I said to do is, if you didn't want to buy the June high or 4-hour support, you could wait for the bear trap. Wait for the breakdown under this trend line, because retail has a very, very bad habit of rushing their positioning. So they don't typically want to wait for the breakdown. We did get that breakdown, and you did get a very, very bullish reaction from that. Right here is where it happened. You can see big wick to the downside and then a strong bullish reaction. But then it has since sold off and is back in the range. So I like hype to the upside as long as the dominance chart remains weak. Unfortunately, it is choppy. So we've been looking for this thing to break down or break out of this pattern for days, and it hasn't yet. So be careful. You can see we've got a nice range today, and it is a trending day to the upside as you took out yesterday's high. Now, a lot of people will say that looks like a rejection, and they would be right. It is a rejection, because when you took out yesterday's high, where was yesterday's high? Okay, right there was yesterday's high. Then when you took it out, you immediately rejected. Boom. And you're trading down back at the bottom edge of the daily range. So it's not a great looking, it's not looking great. But however, this could still be, getting bought up down here. It is at the bottom of the range. So you can watch intraday support if you like. Because in my opinion, if you break back down again, it's probably going to see downside continuation for a little while. I don't know how long, but we'll see what it does. So those are the three we're watching: hype, bonk, fart. All right, those are the three alts that you need to put on watch. We like hype and fart to the upside as long as the 786 on the Fartcoin range can hold. We break below this, we're probably going to see lower prices. So we want to see this candle, the one we just made, we would like to see that midpoint stay intact without seeing hourly closes under it. I'm currently already positioned. Like I said, I shorted Penguin and I shorted, my goodness, bro. I shorted Penguin and Bonk yesterday pretty much at the same time. Well, later on that day, I got stopped out of the Penguin trade. So here's the 4 o'clock candle, 5 o'clock, boom. My short was over in this area. I shorted on this candle right here. Break it down to the 30-minute and I can show you. Basically, I was watching that 30-minute candle on the 30-minute 100 exponential moving average. As it broke above here, I wanted to see if that was a trap. So I shorted the highs. And that trade worked out. But then 5 o'clock came, boom, that took me out of the trade, and then it instantly rolled right back over. So you're going to have stuff like that, right? Remember, in a uptrending market, shorts do not work as often. So you're going to run into things like this. But anyways, that took me out of the Penguin short, but the Bonk trade is still open. We do want to see it roll over here. You're right now testing that same exponential. So basically we want to see if it can hold the breakdown. But the same thing goes for this. Everything else is bullish. And if Bitcoin dominance is breaking down, then people are probably buying the support. Right? So you can short it at your own risk, in other words. But I'll show you right here. So that is where I'm short on the Bonk. And then I am long on the Fartcoin over here. So basically, this is a 4-hour chart. I just bought that 30-minute candle when it pushed down into there. And let's go look at that. Oh, right here on Fartcoin. When it pushed down into this, that's when I bought it. I was happy to see the close back at the 786. And then the very next candle opened up, but it did not look good. Volume cumulative delta was structured bearish, and it wasn't looking good. Let's see if that has shifted. Yeah, not really. It still doesn't look great. I still don't love it. I would like to see big buy candles down here as well. Something like this. We're not really seeing that. We're seeing a lot of heavy selling pressure down here, but this is what it looked like when I bought it. So, I mean, it did not look good, right? Look at price. Look at this. It looked extremely weak. It looked like it was actually going to roll back over, and then we got the bid volume. And that held at support, which is the 786. And now we're seeing a little bit of a run up here, but big sell side volume like this, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So this is why I'm holding a long fart and a short bonk. If the majority of the crypto market wants to sell off today, then hopefully we'll see that downside continuation on bonk. If the majority of the crypto market wants to be bullish, then we want to hold at least one of them long, right? Kind of hedge out that unknown aspect of trading. The unknowability of chaos. How's everybody doing this morning? Hopefully everybody's doing okay. Hopefully everybody's in the green. We did have a really nice week on the stock account as the Pepsi trade worked out really good after earnings yesterday. And we're also seeing continuation to the upside on the small thing. And that is Dragonfly. Oh, getting a big sell-off here. Okay. So this is probably done. Wow. Wowzers. So this is probably going to sell off today. So right at the open, I will more than likely be closing that out. I wonder what happened there. That looks like a news candle. That's not a good look. It was looking good. Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. So you're going to have a big gap down on D-Pro today. After a nice rip yesterday. This is a low float stock, by the way. So you're going to see things like this. Your momentum sellers are going to be all over this now. Right? That is a gigantic candle. You completely engulfed every bit of yesterday's news. Or whatever had it flying high yesterday. We bought it at 230, or 225, so I'm okay, but still made double the money. But I don't like that. That's not a good look. So we'll close that on the open. And then ultimately the last one that hasn't done anything is Intel. Intel is still just kind of chopping here. It's above yesterday's high, so we'll see what it does. But oh, and we also took a new one yesterday, FXI. We bought FXI yesterday. We were risking 36.75. We have an upside target of 38.50. It's a very slow moving stock. The options move very slow, so it's easy to mitigate risk. But you can see the formation here, why we was buying it. This is a breakout to the upside after it put in a couple bearish traps. It broke out here. This is your pullback. We wanted to see it explode to the upside, so we actually got in. I can't remember exactly what price it was, but it wasn't at the daily low. It was already moving to the upside when we bought it. I think we bought it like right in here, 37.40-ish. But it's getting some upside continuation today. We'll see if we can get up to 38.50. That's likely not going to happen. This is a slow moving asset. So it's likely not going to get to 38.50 today. But we'll see. Going back over here to Bonkster. I was thinking about adding to the short. Unfortunately, I was not awake to that, and I don't want to add to it down at the bottom because there's a chance it could, on the open at 9:30, it could trade back up to that old 2-week open. Do not ask me why that price is acting like resistance or support on this. It just is. This is daily res. It was yesterday's open, but it's also daily res. And then this is an old monthly swing high. But here's that 2-week level. It's right here. It caught the wick over here. I don't really care about, but you can see how it acted as resistance there. in a sense, you haven't been able to close a 2-week candle above that price, right? So until you get a 2-week close above that price, that's going to be resistance. That's your highest closing. What didn't close up there, but it closed here. So it's holding. If you go into the small time frame chart, you can see that it's been acting as a legit level for intraday tests. Right here, you broke down, set the day low yesterday, and then ripped, set a fresh high, and then sold off for the rest of the day. But there's another time when it just basically tagged it and reversed. Here you go. Now it's acting as resistance, resistance, resistance. If it gets back up there again, I want to see how it reacts again, right? It could trade up a little bit higher, but I would want to see it roll over pretty quick after it does that. If it does that, then I'll add to the short. Right? So like if we end the stream and it does it around 4 or 5 o'clock today, then that's when I'll add to the short. Because if this is going to give back at least some of those gains while it waits for the ETF, let's find out when, or if there is a win here. When alt season. The expected launch date for the proposed 2x levered Bonk ETF by Tuttle Capital Management is July 16. All right. So we're already beyond that date. Pending regulatory approval from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, that's the SEC. However, this date is the earliest possible launch, and the approval is not guaranteed, as the SEC has historically been cautious with crypto-related ETFs due to concerns about market manipulation and volatility, because the crypto market is not regulated. So every illegal activity that goes on in the marketplace goes on in the crypto world. Order book spoofing, market makers trading with themselves by themselves, everything that's illegal basically happens in the crypto world. So my whole thesis is if the SEC does not approve this Bonk ETF, it will most likely give back at least half of this run. That's what I'm assuming. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me, though, right? That's the old saying. So it's really not smart to look for the short yet. But we'll see, right? We'll see. If the SEC comes out and approves an asset that is literally so cheap. I mean, this isn't even worth a penny. It's hard for me to think that the SEC would give them an ETF on this. But anything is possible. So that's the reasoning behind this. That's why it's been so aggressive, and that's why I'm looking for a potential short on it. But if the SEC does grant the approval, my goodness, this thing could fly, right? It could fly. So we have to be very cautious, and we have to manage our risks. We have the bell. Fartcoin is right now retesting the midpoint of the daily range. It's acting as near-term resistance for now. We're trading above the July VWAP. We're trading above the weekly VWAP. So it is very bullish. It's also at the intraday VWAP. So that could also act as a little bit of near-term resistance. So I'm going to see if D-Pro can go up a little bit on the open here, and then I'm going to exit that. but it doesn't look like it's going to. Very low float stock here. I think we checked it yesterday. It's got less than 5 or 6 million shares in the float. Yeah, 5.35 million. So it is a low float. This is a drone company, and there are a lot of drone companies that are getting really good bids right now based on all the wars that were going on. Some of those have winded down a little bit, but that was the reasoning for buying it at when it pulled back at 225. So we had a big gap up and a big run up here on it, and then it had a huge gap down. Then it traded sideways here for multiple days, and that's why I bought it down here. I said it got up to $4, so maybe it can get back up to $4 again. I'll buy it at 225. I'll look to sell it at $4. Well, we got a huge move 2 days ago in a row. So a lot of traders are trading this thing. Let's see if it's on any watch lists. Volume, probably, right? Not seeing it. Okay, so let's go. Let's see if it's on a losers list, because that's a huge gap down. Wait, that's the wrong thing. Losers. Yeah, it's on there. It's down 25%. All right, so it is on a hot list. So your scalpers, your intraday scalpers are going to be all over this like flies on doo-doo. Flies on dookie. So Fartcoin's ripping to the upside. It's not ripping, but it's moving to the upside here. Be careful, it can still find some sellers, right? Bitcoin is actually going down. Ooh, that's old. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. So that weekly open and daily supply level on Bitcoin is currently still holding. Those sellers will not let that go. This is so annoying. Yeah, the sellers are not letting that supply level go, are they? Fartcoin's up 5% on the day. Big sell volume coming in, or big volume spike. Oh, wait a minute here. Half of it was selling and the other half was buying. It's testing the last 4-hour candles open right here. So this is a good place for sellers to show up, right? Especially if they're looking for downside continuation from this double top. They will be selling this. You got 4-hour res right here. And this candle is still trading inside this candle's range. So it still looks good for downside continuation. Bonk doing the same thing. I don't want to add to it yet. I want to add to it up here if it gets back up there and fails. If it doesn't get back up there and fail, I'll close the bonk short out. If it gets up here and fails, then, because I took profits on the trade yesterday, I made almost $500 on it yesterday. So we're doing really good. We made $420 on Fartcoin the day before that. So the week's been a really good week. The unfortunate thing is all the trades have come before the market. So, but if you look at Bonk here for the short, same scenario as Fartcoin, right? But on this is actually a continuation candle, as you have already taken out the low. Now, obviously, if it goes higher and takes out the high, it'll be a bullish engulfing. But as long as it can stay under 4-hour res on Bonk, that could be a fresh short opening trade. I will leave that up to you. This is going to be your discretion. I'm in it already up here, so I don't necessarily want to add to it, as it'll bring my cost basis down to this level, and this is the level that I want to add to the short. You see why I'm not jumping in it. I don't want to ruin my cost basis, but I'm in it very light. It's a very small position. I do want to add, so I'm caught between a rock and a hard place here, as I would love to add to the short, especially if it does roll over here. Because like I said, there's a yearly open potential downside target. Wait a minute, what did I just screw up? Oh, I see what I did. So that's my downside target on it. If it breaks down. So there is, I mean, there's a lot of potential in there. A little bit of wiggle around this weekly VWAP potential, but ultimately, if the pattern breaks down, right? Expansion, consolidation, expansion. That would give us a downside measured move target of 3055. Loving it. And then Hype. The reason we like this is because they are a good company. They basically, they don't have any VCs in this. It's an exchange. Their volumes are climbing daily, and if their volumes continue to climb, then this can go up. They are essentially buying back their coins, right? They're burning and they're buying back. Basically, they use the money they make on trading fees to then buy back the Hype tokens. This is deflationary. So there is a projected price target on this up to 60 something dollars, $65, $66, according to Invest Answers guy. We'll watch that video a little bit later, or, you know, a couple parts. I'm going to exit the D Pro because the sellers are hammering it. Right off the open. So they're looking for downside continuation here. And that's such a big gap down, they're likely going to get it. And then I'll just add to it again, if or when it finds support. Okay? Because I do think there's more upside potential to this. If they're not making money yet, but there's a ton of room for growth, and they have money. They have cash. So they're not like a dead company or anything. There's actual potential for growth. But we'll not focus on that. We're going to focus on this. And Fartcoin is already happening. This might be happening here. Fartcoin looks good if it can get some kind of bullish Momo. Ooh, that's going to be our 930 open. Don't love that. I don't know what's going on with my news bot, but I have not heard him all morning. And the last news that I got was at 9:29, the Tennessee gas pipeline. At 10 o'clock, we do have news. It's going to be your Michigan Consumer Report. 17 minutes away. So I want to keep that up to see what we get with that. Good morning, Heath. BTBT, when you get a chance, still rising. Your short-term outlook on it? Yeah, I'll look at it. Virtual looks shortable, he says. Well, just keep in mind, watch the dominance chart today. This does look like a good breakdown. I mean, this isn't a tradable asset, but it's calculated from tradable assets. I mean, the pattern looks like a bear trap breakdown. I mean, a bear flag breakdown here, right? And there's even a big measured move on it. So yeah, I mean, this thing can keep going. It's already got a pretty sizable day, though. So looking for that continuation is going to be rough. But if it does continue to go and put in big candles like this to the downside, then your shorts on the alts will not work as good. But we'll go look at virtual. It's up on the year, which unfortunately you don't have a year open, but it's up, right? Is there something else that has more data? Yes. I don't know if this is the same or not. It's down on the year. All right, so there is a lot of data on this. You're down on the year. So I like that. I don't like that you're up on the month and you're not at June's open or anything. But if you fib that range, yeah, I mean, as long as the 618 holds as resistance, you could short it. I don't know if you'll get downside continuation as long as the dominance is so weak, but yeah, I mean, it looks okay. This morning, it doesn't look great for the short. You're up on the day. Here's your day open. So you're making higher lows on the daily range for now. You were making higher highs also, but they sold it in London. They sold it at the London session open. They were unable to get a retest of the day. So if you fib the day range, you're going to have a very, very similar setup as to what we're seeing on Fartcoin. Where you're holding the 786 and the 618 range on the day. So yeah, I mean, you could short it. Just be careful. Make sure you're managing your risk. Because to me, it looks better than it does bad, right? This is going to happen on every one of these things, right? I bet I know what's going on. Let me go up here. I know exactly what's going on. I have it up top like that. That's why. All right. Now that should stop doing that. All right, so you're above the July VWAP as well. I never like to short an asset that is doing that. And if you look at the last 3 days, you're bullish. You're stretching up, right? You're stretching out to the upside. You're making higher highs and higher lows. So typically you want to look to short things that are weak, not strong, guys. I get it. The shorts aren't, they make more money. People think they make more money. In reality, they don't. You can only make a 100% return on a short, and that's after the asset goes to zero, right? So they don't make more money, but markets sell off harder and faster than they go up. So I get the reason to want to short, but you typically want to short something that's at least showing a topping formation. Like here, look at your last 3 days. You made a higher high, but now you're making a lower high and potentially a lower low. So you want a topping formation. You want your daily candles to show you weakness, right? Something like this. A topping formation. Then you can look for a short. As long as you're making higher, when you're doing this, that's not a short, right? Because you could get upside continuation. You want to look to be a buyer of support. If you have red candles going down also, that's another thing that you would look for a short. Like you got something like this going on. Down. You're looking to sell the highs of the day or the open of the day in a downtrending market. That's when you should, like, this is a topping pattern. The low of day is the low to take out will be right here. So if you get that move, then you're going to have a lower low and lower high starting. It doesn't mean you'll get continuation, but it's safer to short. Fartcoin is potentially also doing the same thing, right? Because you haven't made a daily high yet. There's your yesterday high. So if this rolls over and takes out yesterday's low, then you're going to have a topping formation. But as of right now, you're a higher low. That's why the target on Fartcoin has to be the double top, because you're making a higher low. The next thing to come out of that is what? In a trend. Higher highs, higher lows. So the next thing that you would be looking for would be a higher high. The VIX is trading down today. That's another bullish aspect. For now, you're getting downside continuation on the VIX. Just be careful shorting things that are strong. Be careful shorting things that are risk on. When it's a risk on market, you typically want to be a buyer. So I would rather you find strong assets that are trading at support and then look to be a buyer. You will do better. You will make better money, and you'll make more money long term. It's just better. You're just better off. We're seeing upside continuation on Tesla, so our buy on Tesla the other day was a fabulous trade. We bought it right there, $312.69. We're up over $20 on that. Looking good. I think you can test the top end of this triangle on Tesla. I don't know that it will, but it's possible. Your monthly open, last month's open, is all the way up there as well. But we could see a topside target up to there. We have earnings coming out next week on Tesla. Hang on a second. This VWAP thing is doing the same thing. It looks okay. Looks good for upside continuation. Yeah, that's good. I want to see this give us a couple days. It sucks that it just broke out today. I mean, it's good because we're in the money, or we're not in the money yet. Well, yeah, we are in the money. We bought it in the money, though, I think. But anyways, I don't like that it's going up going into the weekend. But we could still see upside continuation. There's a measured move to have on this. That's why we were even looking for the trade. Right. Give us about a 39.50 target. That's max on a measured move. Fartcoin's up 6% on the day. Still struggling here. Bonk rolling over. So I don't guess I'm going to get my resistance test on Bonk. Damn it. I wanted to add to that. I could potentially add to it if on the breakdown too, because this is my downside target, so I'm not looking for a whole lot. But I hate that weekly VWAP is right in there. All right, BTBT, yeah. Yeah, it looks good. I mean, we looked at this the other day. And as long as Bitcoin's going up, we expect this to go up, right? Because you're trading this for Bitcoin sympathy. But Bitcoin is down right now. Bitcoin is struggling on the day. So if you're up nicely on the trade, there is nothing wrong with taking profits. If Bitcoin rolls over and has a down, like a 4% down day today, hang on guys, my girl just woke up. Give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with taking, like, if it was me. It just depends on where you bought it at, right? But it looks good, and it could see upside. It could see upside even if Bitcoin isn't going up, because people are trading this on its own merits. It's a company. Obviously, people that are buying it, they're buying it for Bitcoin. They're buying it because they want Bitcoin to go up. So that could cause more demand in this than what you're currently seeing in Bitcoin. So it could keep going up. Obviously, I have no idea where it could go. You're trading into resistance, which is an old monthly level, but it's your high month close for many, many years, right? Since February 2022, this is your highest monthly close. That's going to act as potential resistance. Sure, you could break out above that, but you could break out above it. But I mean, that would just be, you look at the size of this candle already. You're already, if you look at the last 3 candles, this candle is 3 times larger than those. So you've already seen a 3 standard deviation move higher. I would take profits. I would not be expecting much more out of this. Not anytime soon anyways. Now, if you bought it for a long-term hold, because like myself, I think Bitcoin will eventually be trading at 140 or 180K, this could potentially go up much more. But it could also get sold off. Because like we were discussing yesterday with Riot and Mara, back in the day, Riot and Mara used to be the stuff to buy because they were A, much cheaper than Bitcoin, and B, you didn't need to buy a cold storage wallet and all this other jazz. You could just simply open up a US stock account and buy Mara and Riot. Simple. Much easier to get Bitcoin exposure than going through like an offshore exchange or something. So that's why everybody was so hyped on buying Riot and Mara. But if you notice, those are not flying high, even though Bitcoin is making fresh all-time highs, because there's just too many things to invest in Bitcoin now. There are so many assets to get Bitcoin exposure. It's going to make it more difficult for individual plays to work out the same way, right? So in a sense, the Bitcoin demand is dispersed throughout 20 different asset classes. You've got 10 ETFs, you've got 3 MicroStrategy companies, you've got 5 to 6, 5 or more Bitcoin companies that do the mining. There are so many ways to get Bitcoin exposure. You have to pick the one that everybody else loves the most and is flying into. This does look good. It looks like you're seeing an influx of demand, and you have been seeing it for 3 weeks. So it looks good for now. Just be prepared to take some money off the table. How we like ARM and Apple on the monthly. I like Apple. It makes money. It's a good company long term. It's just struggling right now because there's stuff going on in China, right? There's stuff going on inside the Apple community. For instance, why isn't Apple got a great AI product yet? Why are they still lagging behind the competition? There are questions that a lot of people have for Apple right now, and that's why we're not seeing it explode to the upside. But Apple does something really well. They innovate. Why they are slacking on the AI, I don't know. But they do innovate. They are betting on something. They will innovate a new product, and people love Apple. So I think it's relatively at a good price. I like it all the way down to the 2024 yearly opening range. I could be a long-term buyer on Apple. The monthly looks okay if it can hold the midpoint of July's range. I like it. If it's below that, then it's fear, right? It's a little bit worrisome, but it technically could be a good place to put on a little bit of risk as well. So we are basically wedging up here right around the monthly midpoint range, 618-786. As long as it's holding support like this, I like it higher. Seeing how it's wedging up tight, you could see an explosion move to the upside once you get the breakout. I don't know when you'll get the breakout or if you'll get the breakout, but the same thing goes for Bonk. You're making a bull flag here. So you need to see it break out, and then when it breaks out, you want to see upside continuation. You don't want to see a breakout and then a failure right back into the range, because that would be significant. It would be saying that this is a bull trap in a sense. But as long as this daily close down here at 208.63 remains the lowest daily close in this range, I think Apple's a buy. That's just my opinion, but I think it's a buy. I like it. It's a good company. They make money. You got earnings coming up at the end of the month on Apple. So maybe that's like, you could see something similar to what we saw on Pepsi, right? Here's the Pepsi chart. Same thing here. We had the big breakout. We bought it down here. We got our first wave, or the first initial price leg. Then it went into a period of consolidation, creating your bull flag, and then it broke out on earnings. Boom. Right. Perfect measured move. Absolutely perfect. A little bit more, actually. So this is why I closed that trade out. It could trade sideways here for a while, but that's a very nice breakout. I would expect something like that on Apple, or anticipate it. I wouldn't expect it. I would be a buyer at support in anticipation of that happening. Your current near-term support is 209.99. That's yesterday's close. You've tested that pre-market, or right on the open. Sorry, not pre-market, but on the open here. Boom, boom, boom. As long as this holds, I like it higher. Under that, I wouldn't be in it. I would get out and wait for another support test down here. You may not get that though, because you've got May's open there as well. That is another big time objective level that people are clearly picking up Apple shares at. So you might not get a push down here. Go into it, small position ahead of earnings, very small, because if they come out with really bad earnings, then clearly it can gap back down and create a BART pattern. But as of right now, it's constructive. The markets are bullish. Risk markets are bullish. The VIX is trending lower. Risk is making fresh all-time highs. I think Apple's going to go up. He's outside, I guess. Yeah, I opened the door this morning and he went out. All right. So yeah, Apple looks good. I like it long term. All right, let's go back to Fartcoin and the two trades that we're currently watching here. So it's losing its 930 open. It's losing the intraday VWAP. I don't love that. Let's see what we get on cumulative volume. Delta it's looking bearish. But with that being said, at any point we could see a few big bullish candles pop up here. That's what we kind of need to see. I like that it's not aggressive selling, so that looks okay still. But any minute now, the aggressive selling could happen. So looks like people are trying to pick up Bitcoin, but I can make the case that this is also a bear flag on Bitcoin intraday here. But I mean, intraday patterns don't work as often and as good as like your longer terms. But I mean, Bitcoin's under the intraday VWAP. Bitcoin's under the weekly open. So it's still bearish on the week. You're down on the week still. Looking at it like this, remember, we might not see the support come in until next week on Bitcoin for that 3-bar breakout pattern, expansion, consolidation, and then next week expansion. So I basically said this whole week could be choppy and inside. And right now you are inside. You're inside last week's range. So let's get rid of daily res here as we got that daily supply level. And let's put up last week's high. This way we know, as long as we're under that level, we know that we're an inside week. Now this candle is a trending candle. It's not an inside candle, as you did take out last week's high, but you have rejected those prices for now. So for now, the buyers they're either waiting or whatever, right? They know that this whole week could close down and you won't see that move until next week. And then you have the people that think Bitcoin is a Ponzi and all those people that are just selling. But you're trading inside last week's range, and as long as you're doing that, then, and it's also Friday, so let's be honest, right? This week is almost over. That's a pretty decent place to manage risk as well. Bonk is working out still. It's trying to break down, but it's struggling to break down. I don't like that. Break down, you punk. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's struggle. Let's see, Bitcoin dominance still looking okay. Fresh lows. We want to see fresh lows still for our long Fartcoin trade. So for 45 minutes, well, this candle just opened, to be fair. Never mind. For 30 minutes, we haven't gone anywhere. And the market's open. It gives me a little bit of concern. I want to see a big bullish break candle right here at this VWAP. That would make me feel a little bit better, and I could aim for that double top liquidation. Yesterday and today's high is a double top because you didn't liquidate yesterday's high. Since you didn't liquidate yesterday's high, that makes it a target. If we would have liquidated yesterday's high, I would probably be more prone to short this today, right? But since we did not liquidate, that means that they stopped it just shy to give people that rejection look, right? To lure in those sellers. It failed to go above yesterday's high, so it's weak. Let me jump in this thing short. That provides liquidity needed for the break. Give it plenty of time for the liquidity to build up. So I still like it to the upside, but we start closing, 5, 10, 15 minute candles under that intraday VWAP, then it's going to be pressure, and I will maybe close the long trade out. For the new people that are just showing up, here are the live real money trades that we have open. It's not a big account. We take small positions because I'm trying to teach people how to manage risk properly. You don't need a lot of money to make a lot of money in crypto. I'm in this position with $453. I have almost made my money back, double my money, right? And then the bonk short down here, I'm in it with $178. This is giving me back 160%. Both of those trades are 20x leverage. So I don't need a lot of money to make a lot of money. And we consistently make money. We made over $1,000 this week in the crypto world. We made over that in the stock market as well. We trade everything here. Welcome. Right now we're watching Fartcoin and Bonk because those are really hot. People just love Fartcoin because it has a lot of liquidity, a lot of 24-hour volumes. So professional traders have no problem getting in and getting out of positions. That's why Fartcoin is like a favorite and becoming one of my favorites as well. Obviously, I know it isn't worth anything. It's just a speculation vehicle. But as a day trader, I need people to speculate on an asset for me to make money. So I love it. Bonk, on the other hand, is moving because it's got an approval or an ETF approval waiting. They were supposed to get approval on the 16th, or that was the earliest that we could see the approval or disapproval. Bonk has moved up very strongly based on ETF news. So what we're looking at is if the ETF fails, because it's a very cheap asset, it's trading at 3/100ths of a cent. Yeah, it's not worth anything. So if the ETF fails, I'm assuming that a lot of this will get given back. That year open target doesn't look as achievable on the daily time frame, guys. I know I said that this measured move gives you a target down there, but it doesn't look as achievable on a day trade. Looking at this daily chart, this daily candle exploded to the upside because so many people shorted at the yearly opening range. I was one of them. I made money. Obviously, I got stopped out, but I made money on the first position. Took profits, moved my stop to break even, and then got stopped out. But that's why this candle is so big. So many people shorted it there. So I'm not expecting a daily range to be equivalent to this thing. This is more what you should be looking for in today's range. This could take 3 to 5 days to retest again, or longer. That is even if it does, right? We can't predict which way price will go, but just looking at this little bit of price action here, this leg lower, then the consolidation phase, this is a measured move downside target. All right, so that's what we're working on and waiting for. We're long Fartcoin and short Bonk. So yeah, today could end up just washing out. Let me look at the questions real fast. As received 20K hype on my first airdrop. Sold on the way up to 30 incrementally. Good job. Hype airdrop. Yeah, they did a nice airdrop. Oh yeah, about the hype. This guy right here had put out a really good video on it yesterday. He went over the white paper and stuff like that. I believe it was a live stream. Yeah, right here.
Good morning, everybody. A little earlier today.
I'm not going to watch this whole video.
This one is interesting. I want to first of all,
I respect
when we do
him,
these,
but this is the creator of it, of the hyper exchange. And then right here
with data, the metrics. I like metrics. I like data. And the metrics are insane. All of them. Whatever you're looking at, whether it's TVL or a stablecoin market cap, the growth rates, the incentives, the revenue, the fee.
They have a lot of trading volumes, and that's how they make money, by fees on volume. And essentially what they're doing is they're taking a small portion of that profit and then reinvesting back into the token itself by buying the token back. So it's similar to a stock buyback, but it's happening in the crypto sphere on this. So right now they're in third place, I think. I think you got Solana, Ethereum, and then Hype. So this is why we like it, right? I'll drop this video in the link for you all. I'll drop the link in the chat for you all, so that way you can check it out yourself after we're done here. Go watch it. I don't recommend buying it based on what he's saying, clearly. I'm just saying that this asset has really good tokenomics. And he makes a case that there's an arbitrage trade up to $60 on Hyper. It's trading at $45 currently. Yeah, right now it's trying to break down from a bull flag here. It's been very choppy. It got a lot of momentum and repriced higher. We were watching it when it broke down. Let me go back in time here because we've been going live every day. But this was a breakdown of a triangle, or not really a triangle. It was an uptrend, more or less, right here. And it broke down on this day. So we were looking for downside continuation. We did get downside continuation, but that was rejected, and it ended up closing up on the day. So this day we were concerned that this might be a false breakdown, And if it is a false breakdown, we were looking for it to go up much higher. That's exactly what it did. So it repriced much higher, and then it's been chopping sideways at the June high. And you can clearly see the bull flag that it has made on an intraday basis. Yesterday was punched below that, and then it found support, but it's been chopping back and forth since then. So I don't know what's going on with this, why it's having such difficulty going up, but if it holds support, I do like it higher. So yesterday we were waiting for this to put in a bear trap to the downside. We got the move yesterday, but it didn't put in a bear trap because you didn't close under it. I want to see at least a 4-hour candle closure or an 8-hour. I want a higher time frame candle close under it. Like if I could get a breakdown that looks similar to this, then I want to be a buyer at the close of this candle if and when we liquidate the low that this candle makes. Here, I'll make it pretty. Let me make it better. So we want to see this wick, whatever this candle's wick looks like. We want to see the next candle open, trade down, liquidate, and then trade back up into this range. And we can be a buyer here. Put our stop under that low, whatever it ends up being, right? Something like that. And then I want to see this. So this is the pattern that we're currently waiting for on hype. Right? Now, if you liquidate, if we break down and you get downside continuation, then you don't want to be a buyer. I'm going to say that one more time. If you liquidate and get continuation, you don't want to be a buyer because the market is telling you at that point that this is not a trap. So you could see something like this, right? So you don't want to be a buyer. You can watch it around the open of the daily candle. This might not take place, or it might take place here right now on this candle. We don't know, but this is what we want. We want it to set a low. Then we liquidate the low and get back into the range. But if it continues lower, we're not going to buy it because it's looking for a deeper protection zone or a deeper consolidation or deeper support, right? So we don't want to step in front of it, but we can take one shot if it liquidates and trades back up into the range. We can risk a little bit of capital at that point. And then if we get the move we want, since we already have a plan on it, we already know what our trade plan is on hype, we get the move we want, then we can add to the position as it's moving higher because we'll know at that point that that bear trap was likely what the market was looking for. It was what the buyers were waiting on. Retail has a very bad habit of front running these moves. How many times have you bought an asset just to get stopped out and then next day it goes in your direction for the next 10 days, right? You're like kicking yourself in the pants because you got stopped out because you were too early. Well, that's why. We need to have a little bit of patience. And if it breaks down and we get downside continuation, then we can just wait to buy it lower. We know where it liked, what price it liked, right? It broke out and it basically, down in this area, it loved it. So if it gets back down there again, it might love it again, right? So that's why we got to be very careful on buying the bear trap. We have to see that it is a bear trap. But that's not playing out yet. It's currently in the process of playing out, and we'll allow it to play out. Fartcoin is rejecting. This isn't what I wanted to see. All right, so there we go on the Bonk. Bonk shorts not going to pay as much as the Fartcoin. I'm going to go ahead and take Fartcoin profits. I'm not going to allow it to come back and stop me out here as a loss. I'm going to move my stop so I don't lose money on this trade up to this 4-hour candle close here. It could obviously stop me out and then go. It did that the other day. It did that right here when Donald Trump gave us the news of firing Powell. It came back, stopped me out, then rock and rolled to the upside. That happens. But I will never let this turn to a red trade. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. It was up nicely up here, right? There's no way I'm going to take a loss on it. Not happening. It sucks. We didn't get the move I wanted to get. So maybe that's good news for the bonk shorts. We'll watch that. But like I said, this trade will not make as much money, even if it gets downside continuation, because I did not get the position that I wanted to have on it. I wanted to add to the position, but not that low. It is what it is. I mean, we still make money, but we don't make as much money as we wanted to make. Oh well, that's life. That's life. This is still the support if you want to try to buy into it now. If you think this is just a fake out and it is going to go higher, I would be very, very cautious. Let me turn the music back on, or at least have it playing in the background. Turn it down a little. Yeah. So it's going to roll over. It is what it is. Like I said, I wasn't loving that price action. If you think you're going to see downside continuation on these things, you could wait for a pullback. You can wait for a midpoint check and look for a short. I just don't trust the shorts as long as dominance is weak. But if this is the low here, then that could stop some of these alts from flying. And we could be putting in a low. I mean, let's be fair. Dominance has been going straight down for 4 days. Boom, boom, boom. Big downs. Big daily down candles. This will still be a bullish target for me, as long as it can find some sort of support. At some point. Oh, we're making a fresh low right now on Bonk. Trying to make a fresh low. Volume, cumulative volume delta looks great for downside continuation. Let's see if we're seeing that on the 30-second chart. We are. It looks great for downside continuation. So I will continue to hold this thing short. And it would be lovely if we got that ETF news, right? And it, or not ETF. Well, yeah, the ETF news on Bonk. If it gets declined, oh, that would be great. But I would love to be in it with a bigger position before that happens. Would love for that to happen. Because Bonk is a mover. It is a mover. It's already down 3%, 3.5% on the day. And Bitcoin is down 1%. So Bonk is a mover. Bonk can finish down today like 8 or 10%. We could see a lot more downtime or downside on this asset. Can I look at Pepe USD? Yeah, we have it. Ooh, Pendle's rolling off here. Pendle's also been one of those that were, I'm gonna have to fix this. This is aggravating me. Yeah, it's coming off pretty hard here. I still would want to, yeah, I would assume that would have gotten liquidated, to be honest with you, but looking like it wants to go lower here. Let's watch Fartcoin real quick. So the July VWAP held on Fartcoin the last time that it came down here. It took it a couple of days to do it, but it did ultimately do it. So we might not have nailed the long trade today, but we still might be able to. Let's see what this candle does on the close. Cumulative volume delta looks good for downside continuation. All right, where's Pepe? Right here. No, that's Pendle. Pepe. I don't know why that's still doing that. Pepe's still down on the year, so it's weaker than some of your other cryptos. It's still up on the week. It's still above last week's high. So you're not range bound today on Pepe. You're still in upside continuation mode, but it does look like the sellers are trying to win today's range. But this could be a fake out move. We have seen that happen many times. I do want to see how this closes. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look as bad as like Fartcoin, but it looks pretty bad. You've got a bearish engulfing 30-minute candle here. So as long as the midpoint of that holds on a 30-minute closing basis, then your sellers are going to jump on it. They're going to be looking for a fresh daily low, which will be here. So yeah, be careful. It did close under the 786. Which is the level that I wanted to buy it from. So we could tempt it for a fake out since we got out of it with a little bit of money. So we wouldn't eat a loss. But clearly there's downside momentum here. Let me see. Yeah, this could still be a buy. As long as it's above that, the 786, I like it. Under it, I don't. Because this could just be a fake out move right here, as it did just stop out anybody that got long down here earlier, right? So let's go back to Fartcoin. I don't want to miss a big rip your face off rally. again. The VIX is back above the open. And this is a bearish 4-hour engulfing. Okay, as long as it's under it, I don't like it. So I'll hold off on buying it. As long as it's trading under it, I don't like it for long. Because, this is a bearish pullback as of right now. In the context of this breakdown. This is just a bearish pullback. But we can watch the close right here. If it fails to close any more candles lower than that, then when it gets back up here, we can buy it. And we can manage our risk by that point. But it does look like you're going to see downside continuation. For now. Cumulative volume delta. Made fresh lower low. Price did not. So if it gets back above this, I'm going to put on a little bit more risk. Not as big as a position size that I had on just a minute ago. Because as of right now, this is a higher low. And this did liquidate. So it got me the other day. I don't want it to get me again. I missed out on that big move. I don't want to miss it the second time. If I miss it, it'll be my fault because I'm watching it like a hawk. You would enter the position here with a very small position size at first with the stop under this low. So make sure if it does spike back up here and we do end up entering this position, make sure that that risk is only going to lose you like 0.25%. Very small loss. You can always add to your winner. Always add to the winners. We can always do that. Good morning, says Chase. Part moving entered that early dip. So also by buying that is also buying 4-hour support. Excuse me, it's also buying 4-hour support. But as of right now, it is a bearish engulfing 4-hour candle. So in a sense, back above this will put this 4-hour candle back to green. Under it, you're a red 4-hour. Above it, you're green, you're up. So it's a bullish engulfing. Small risk. Wait. Small risk. We're risking the daily, this low, not the daily low, this low. We're anticipating this is a fake out. This is just to run the stops from the earlier buyers down here. We're going to use this low for our risk. This looks good. Big volume like this. If we can get like 10 of those, man, this thing could be right back up there. However, you know sellers are selling this because they are looking for downside continuation. Good coffee, baby. Let me pull up volume by time real fast. And I like the buildup of volume too as it came down through here. But it could end up being sell side volume if we break down, right? That's why we don't want to risk much. It's too risky because it did break down, and Bitcoin is down 1.3%. So, and that dominance is going to be affecting us as well. The dominance is climbing as it's making higher highs and higher lows. So Bonk or Fartcoin could roll it back over, clearly. But this could roll back over as well. See, I mean, you're struggling to get up there. That's okay. If the next candle opens, we got 6 minutes on this one. If this one just opens up and cuts loose back to the downside, then we know we're probably wrong, and it wants to liquidate the day low, right? But if it closes above and then we get another open, we could see that candle start to approach back to the upside. This does look bad. It looks like a rejection from the daily VWAP, so it's not a great. It doesn't look great. We're managing our risk though, very, very easy. Simple to mitigate risk like this. And if we're wrong, we don't even risk a full %. The sellers want to see it cut loose soon. For their little bear flag to work. All right. Let's go one way or the other, baby. We can get back above 0. That would be good. Let's see where we are. Under 0 on the 1 minute, under 0 on the 5, under 0 on the 15 and the 30 minutes. So here comes the sellers. It does look like they're going to win out. But I've heard many large money professionals say the best bid or the best time to buy is when you don't want to. Right? When you don't want to buy it, that's usually the best time to buy it. When it looks terrible. This doesn't look terrible. I mean, you're still up on the day. They're trying to win, and they're looking good for the win. I'm not even gonna lie. Their structure doesn't look great for this to take back off to the upside. But we know what we're gonna lose if we're wrong here. And it isn't going to be as much as I just made on it. So I am more than willing to risk a little bit more to see if that was just a psych. Bitcoin is moving down 1.49%. That is relevant. Bitcoin is giving you a downside continuation move here. Boom. So just be aware of your surroundings. The Fartcoin could cut loose to the downside. And even a measured move from that will put you down much lower on the day. So that's why we want to be able to get out real quick if we're wrong here. Because just looking at what we have here, right? There's a measured move to take from that as well. Everything is fractal when it comes to candles. So you could see a lower low on the day at one spot 3690 if it cuts loose to the downside. But we'll see what it does. Stop loss and profit, says DC. Good stuff. Good morning. Yeah, I read BTBT. I looked at BTBT. Virtual to short as well. Yeah. Smash the like button. Buster G says, yeah, I would appreciate that. How are we liking ARM and Apple? So I looked at Apple for you. I did not look at ARM. Let me see what this thing does real quick, and then we'll go look at ARM, all right? Because if this cuts loose back to the upside, then we're probably okay. Then I have a serious thing. Then I have to really seriously think about that bonk trade. Because it's up $390. That's not a slouch. That's good money to make on an intraday basis. Just sitting here, hanging out with the boys and girls and making money. Put our money to work. Let our money work for us. Love it. It's the best thing in the world. America's the best. The best. I had to add water to the tank. The filter was sucking air. Come on, Fart. Show us something here. Show us something. It's still in danger is to the downside as long as it's below the midpoint and the VWAP, guys, right? Just because it breaks out of this little itty bitty 30-second bear flag, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see continuation to the upside. It just, you know, it is what it is, right? But I'd feel much better about holding the long if it could. And started to give us some girthy candles back to the upside. Maybe get this cumulative volume delta out of the negative territory. And what is our ADD is back to negative on the day. So we opened above 1500 on the advanced decline line in the risk markets. Risk markets, ES, NASDAQ, all of them trading under intraday VWAP. Or both of them, sorry, not all of them, both of them. So risk markets looking a little bit weaker here today. After we had a gap down on the VIX. But the VIX, it set a higher high on the day and then backed off. So the S&P and NASDAQ could be setting in lows right now. Bitcoin is moving up a little bit here. It's backed off of being down 1.5% to being down 1%. This is a 0.5% move to the upside. That's good. Fartcoin is still up 2.7% on the day. Yeah, I don't like that. All right. Don't love that. I like that. I love that. Yeah, do that. Yeah, do that, baby. Do that. I haven't forgot about your ticker. I just want to see Fart trade up out of here or break back down so I can get out of it and then. But here's the VIX real fast. So we did have a spike up on the VIX, that 10 o'clock news. It is migrating back to the upside. But looking at it on the daily, it looks okay, right? As long as it's trading under yesterday's midpoint, we still like the VIX lower. Human volume delta doesn't look great on the 1 minute. Doesn't look great on the 30-second either. Today could just be a down day across the risk markets. Apple is down under the intraday VWAP. Tesla's above it, but I don't know how long it's going to stay there. Here's your Tesla. There's your intraday VWAP. Apple under intraday VWAP. Microsoft under. And Nvidia under. So we could see a down day in the markets. Oh, and sorry, I didn't show you your ES and NASDAQ. Here's ES under and NASDAQ under. There's your ADD. So you opened way up here in positive 1500 and sold off. But have we set in a low? The first move isn't always the right move. Sometimes it is, but it isn't always. It isn't always. And what was that you wanted me to look at? ARM. Wow, it's just chopping. ARM looks good on the near term. I mean, it's experiencing a near-term correction, but it looks okay. Year to date, you're up on the year on ARM, so that looks good. On the month, it looks like this month was a pullback month, and that looks good. That looks really good. It looks like it wants to go higher. Intra-week, you've bullishly engulfed the previous week's range at support. And you're in an uptrend on the near term for the month, right? Multi-month uptrend. You set your lows back in April, same as all the markets. It looks like this looks good. As long as the midpoint of your breakout weekly candle here holds, I think you can expect more upside. And today, it's pulling back like the rest of the markets. The rest of the markets are pulling back. This is doing the same thing. But as long as you're controlling the 21 exponential on a daily basis, I like it higher, right? So I think if you're holding this from the 21, I like your trade. I like your positioning. I think you're okay for now. All right, that's ARM and Apple. Same, it's the same. I like Apple higher. So we've already did Apple, but it's struggling here, but I like it higher. If it can break out, we could see a bigger move on Apple. So I think your positioning is okay for the upside. And you entered on that earlier dip. Okay. Yeah. XRP and ETH are leading the alts. Yeah, XRP and ETH are definitely doing very good. Very good stuff. Look at Ethereum today. I mean, Ethereum today is looking good. You didn't even slow down when you retested the yearly opening range. That is a sign of strength. Very strong. Your measured move has already taken place. So if you're expecting more daily upside candles, I would take profits on this. You're exceeding the top edge of the range that you could expect to get, right? You put in a measured move here, you're trading well above that measured move. So this could just be, you're seeing a lot of upside continuation today and yesterday from stopping out everybody who tried to short the yearly open. So this could be blowing off right here. I'm not saying it's a blow off top. Blow off just means demand exhaustion, right? It just simply means that you could be exhausting the buy side here today. So just be careful looking for fresh buys today. Let this thing trade sideways for a few days and find support. Like, it's similar to Bitcoin. However, you know, this has actually been ripping. And then we've got XRP on watch. It's already started to give us a pullback here today. Maybe a few more days of pulling back. But yeah, it did the same thing yesterday. Boom. Ran those highs. You're at fresh. Is this fresh all-time highs here? On XRP. I don't see why, like, I would not expect this to stop. I would not expect it to stop. It really looks good. It's super strong. I'm not in it, but a lot of people are, and they're making money right now. Upside targets are virtually impossible to give right now because, well, it was in a very long-term consolidation here. I can't even give you a fib extension because there's nothing to really pull back to. Well, that's not a fib extension. So, I mean, I don't love it, right? It's just, it's just straight up been so strong. And the fib extension doesn't look to be good. It's just, it's hard to get one on something like this. Yeah, it's just, it's hard to get anything on this. It's just super strong. Fartcoin is rejecting. So this actually looks like a downside continuation move right here, don't it? Looks like a downside continuation move. Now, hold up. Excuse me. I'm so sorry to do that right in the mic. But if this support can hold, we're okay still. I don't love this little fake out here, so we can probably get rid of that, right? We'll just watch this 15-minute support. If we're trading under this, then there's the probabilities are that it's wanting to go lower, right? We need to see it trade away from this area with haste if this was going to be a fake out move. If this was just like a liquidation run, we would expect it to start trading away from this area pretty quickly. It's not doing that. It's consolidating this move. So it's looking more and more like it wants to break down. But Bitcoin is moving up still. You're not even down 1% anymore on Bitcoin. You're down 0.75%. But Bitcoin's gaining strength. This could help, right? But what a Bitcoin did is different. It made a fresh daily low. Fartcoin did not. Oh, and you're just right now trading back up into the old daily low. So this could be where the sellers show back up. I didn't realize that we made that deep of a low push. Yeah, I'm not loving the Fartcoin long anymore. It's not looking great. Looking like the sellers are winning the battle here. Your cumulative volume delta is not putting in any kind of a bullish push. What time? What kind? We got 1 minute left on this 15-minute candle, so or 15-minute candle, so we don't have to sit in this much longer. It's probably gonna cut loose here pretty soon. What's our bonk doing? Our bonk is getting downside continuation also. That's good. We're holding that one short. So yeah, this doesn't look great. And this candle, the close of this candle will give us our 15-minute close. This is as low as we want to see it go. It's not looking great. All good. Not looking great. All is good. The sellers got it today. So downside target would give you a fresh daily low. All right, that's pretty much that. So now we're just going to sit in bonk and collect all the profits it wants to give us. I would have really liked to have seen it get back up there. I guess I was asking for too much. But you do have a fresh lower low. So at that point, you can almost say reversal is set in stone. It's a 3-day reversal. Whether it can maintain downside continuation or not is clearly going to be defined by the end of the day. But as of right now, the sellers are pretty much in control. And that's good for me because I am short. Tesla struggling to hold support here. It still looks okay. What's the rest of the markets doing? Intel's going up. Yeah, NASDAQ and ES making fresh daily lows. So it looks like it wants like going to be a pullback day, a pullback kind of day. Apple is still testing the intraday VWAP. So that might actually be an intraday short. Well, it doesn't look like it from midnight. So why is, oh, I see what it is. It's in the right spot. 210.54. So it's just 20 cents lower. So the VWAP on Thinkorswim is a bit different than the VWAP on this platform. TradingView. And fresh, we just traded under the 4-hour low on Fartcoin. No, it didn't. We're under this 4-hour low. I don't understand why the sellers are not taking over. They should be taking over. Yeah, I don't see any reason for this not to continue. Oh. So what? Bull trap, then bear trap? There are, since price is migrating or aggregating back to the upside here, it could be new sellers throwing in big limit sells up here. Or it could be exhausting the sell side. Looking for the breakout push or breakdown push. Looking for that extended move target, measured move target. Negative 166 on advanced decline. It's pretty mixed day on the heat map. Let me go look at the index watch. On the S&P 100, it's a mixed day. However, Netflix is down big today. 5.25%. Big down day on Netflix. That 30-minute 100 is a pretty good indicator to look at for intraday price movements. This is why Fartcoin is struggling to break down, guys. Struggle nation here. So let's put this right here. Well, now volume has switched to bullish. Okay. Bull trap, then bear trap. Not yet. It's not confirmed bear trap until it breaks out of the top side. And still, it's not a confirmation. Nothing is a confirmation in the markets. The markets are too chaotic. Nothing can be predicted. There's probabilities. This still is in context of downside continuation. So price aggregated higher to fill those breakdown limits. The people that are looking for the breakdown continuation trade, that's why it aggregated back up there. Some people threw in some pretty sizable limits. That's not how I trade. I'm trying to find those zones where buyers and sellers meet. And this is a zone, obviously, a big one. As you're struggling to break down with the continuation. Bitcoin back down 1%. So that daily low there. But Bitcoin's accumulated volume delta looks better. This doesn't. Like, this still looks like the sellers are struggling. But I mean, it looks like they're going to get it. The move they're looking for. It's a mixed day on the advanced decline line or on the index watch. 50-50 pretty much, but Netflix is down the biggest. This is the S&P 100. It's the 100 biggest companies inside the S&P. You don't need to look at the 500, right? It's just going to tell you the same. It'll be 250, 250. You just need to look at the 100 biggest. Because the 100 biggest is what's moving the market. And it's a pretty mixed day out there. You got Apple up slightly. Google up slightly. INTC's up pretty nice today. Meta down. Microsoft down. Netflix down. Nvidia down. And that's pretty much your tech. So it's just a mixed day. Just a mixed day on a Friday. All right, let me answer some more of these questions. Pepe ETH beta, can I chart it? Pepe versus ETH? Beta? I don't understand what you're asking for. Is that the ticker? Pepe ETH? I don't see it. Like, I see Pepe versus Euro, but not Pepe versus ETH. Is that this? Down here? Wrapped ETH? On Uniswap? I doubt it. I mean, there's nothing to chart here. That's probably not it. I just need the ticker. Give me the ticker and I'll pull it up. I've never looked at it. So yeah. Could this be a test of the support of the 118 for Bitcoin and bounce? So we have to first go look to see if there is support at 118. And the answer is always, yeah, I mean, it could. There's a daily support there. I'm not exactly sure where you're getting the 118 support from. King Moni, I'm not saying that it's not support. I use objective price points to identify support and resistance. And I don't see an objective price point for 118. Like, I have a 117.7, which is close enough. That's going to be your daily support, as it's the lowest daily close that you've gotten since you pulled back. So until you close a daily under that, this will in fact be support, yes, or potential support. But if you close under it, then you will have broken support. And the next area of support will be this wick low, which is your current week low, right? So that's how I analyze price. I analyze price objectively, not subjectively. I don't just find a bunch of points. I mean, I guess one could argue and say 117.5 is yesterday's low, and that could absolutely act as support. Yeah. Right? But I'm not exactly sure where you're getting the 118 from. So we'll just call it 117.7 as daily support. If we close today's candle under this, then going into the weekend, there will be more downside pressure, as the week's low would be the target. But support can come in from any price. We don't know where support will be, right? That's literally predicting what price will do. We're not using these lines to show us what price will do. We use these lines to show us where to watch, where to look as potential areas to put risk on in the markets. But we have to go about the analysis as objectively as possible, or as objectively as possible, so that way we know where we stand. Like, we're down on the week and we're trading inside last week's range. Objectively, we know that. So that tells us one thing right off the bat. It tells us that this week is down on Bitcoin. It's a down week. So the pressure, as long as you're trading under the weekly opening, is still to the downside. But the close is what's important, because you can throw wicks under like you did on this day. At some point during the daily range, the sellers took price under support, but they were not able to hold it down there. So this could also potentially be a support zone in the future, right? If it gets back down there, then maybe we can watch that area. But I mean, we can't never look at a line on a chart and be like, oh, price is definitely going to turn around there on July the 22nd. That's impossible. We don't know what price will do, but we could definitely watch support. Yeah. So looking at the chart on the 1 minute, we can see that that level did act as support and resistance, right? Resistance there, perfect. Like it was an absolute flawless test. Here it was a little bit more choppy and mixed, but there was another flawless test where the sellers were mitigating their risk. This line caused them to do things, right? It caused them to enter positions or fix positions, move stops. It caused volume to come into the marketplace. So that's why we use these levels. We know that these levels will induce trading. We don't know what side will win, but we do know things will happen here. Support, support. You could have literally been a buyer at the London session open right here. Boom. And it did come back in and bounced, got a deeper push, and then a not so deep push, and then prices retreated from this area, and now we're back down here, right? So since we have this aggressive move lower by trying to step in front of that bearish momentum here, not the greatest plan, because this is still just a lower high. And we know that prices don't retreat in straight moves. They oscillate. It bounces like a ball. So just think in your head as a ball rolling off the cliff, and then it bounces, and then it drops further off of a stair, like a staircase, like a slinky. Hits this, bounces, rolls back over, comes into it again, bounces, and then eventually breaks or bounces higher. We don't know, but it is an absolute area to watch, right? For sure. And people will be putting risk on here. We know that from the past, how price reacted to the area. And the reason price acted to that area is because it's an objective level. It will always be that. Forever in time. That white line will be July the 15th, 2025's closing price for the day. It will always be that. It will never change. The level will eventually become less relevant as more and more volume trades, but on the very near term, it is still acting as support. Until you get a close under that, yeah, it's support. You're also doing something else by trading sideways like this. You're allowing time to take place. And by allowing time to take place, each day that you close above $113,000, this moving average is going to go up. It's going to continue to tick up on every single day close. You're going to get an uptick, an uptick, an uptick, an uptick. And then eventually that will cause price to react with the moving average. Then you would have potential confluence depending on where the support is at that point or where the lowest close is at that point. So it's just time. So as day traders, all we're doing on a daily basis is trying to identify where are the best places to put risk on inside of the daily range. And right now, just by looking at the daily candle, you can see that you are trading at the low of day. You are trading at the low of day. You have liquidated yesterday's low. So anybody that bought yesterday's low, they're probably out of the trade now. Couple that in with daily support, and you have a zone to watch. But, you know, you can see that you're starting to get downside continuation. So the sellers are clearly taking, you got people that are taking profits. You got new shorts that are jumping in based on technical signals. There's a whole myriad of reasons why people take trades or put on risk. But yeah, you liquidated yesterday's low. You did get a pretty significant bounce, or at least 0.5% bounce from that area, but you've since retreated back to that area. So likely, you know, you're probably going to see this continue until you get an aggressive, sharp move, or until some kind of news comes out or whatever to cause people to come in and react. But on the Bonkster, on the Fartcoin, we're making fresh daily lows. We just made a fresh daily low. So you can see how we lost this area and price aggregated back up. Where was our target? 139. Why was our target 139? Based on this measured move here. So even though we're looking at a 1 minute chart, you can see how basically these things happen even down on a 1 minute level. When you have a nice trending condition like this was. This was a very nice trending condition. As you rejected the VWAP, it took a long time to do it, but ultimately it did it. You got your one leg lower. So as soon as you broke out here, and then not chasing, nobody chased price lower, right? They didn't go in and just hit the sell button. Well, some people did, but the smart people set limit sells right at the breakdown point, like literally right at it. What is this blue line? It's the 30-minute 100 simple exponential, not simple, exponential moving average. You can see how price aggregated right back up to that point, filled those limits, and then left the area. And it hit that measured move to because people that filled this trade took profits here. That's why these things work out. Right? I mean, it's almost a perfect. So that trade is done now. Now people are going to put risk on in the markets for other reasons. Like your rookies that don't understand these market dynamics, they'll throw on risk down here. They'll literally freaking wick low, not understanding that the trade has already taken place. Like you are exit liquidity for sellers up here, because sellers up here did not have to do anything. They did not have to do anything. At no point were their shorts in risk. This was a breakout and it immediately fell right back into the range. So they didn't have to do anything, but they are now. Now they're closing those trades off. So yeah, they're getting short, not realizing that they're literally exit liquidity. For day trade scalping bots, there are millions of them out there. This was a condition. This isn't a trending condition. This is chop slop. But there are still areas to target and areas to take profit. There, even though this is choppy, it's still tradable, very tradable. And that's why I was kind of, wanting to see maybe Bonk wouldn't break down today. Maybe it would go back up to this old resistance level for me. And I would have, if it gave me that push higher and then rejection back under, I would have added to my short position, bringing my cost basis lower, but still above this area. Looking for it to do this, but down here, right? Up here, roll over, and then I could sit in the trade longer. There's no reason to get short on Bonk now. Earlier today is when you should have gotten short. When we first came on the live stream, Bonk was giving a short signal. 8:30, 9 a.m. We got live at 9:15. Here's your 9:30 candle. You trade it up right under the intraday VWAP. That's that white line there. Forget about the 20 exponential. On the 30-minute, you can watch the 100. It'll help you see like the trend a little bit better. You can see that it bounced. It's bouncing, it's chopping. So now wherever this low ends up being, once it starts to trade sideways again and choppy, we would expect this moving average to slowly start to trend back down. And at any point, though, you can get a gigantic rip to the upside and change that whole dynamic. But it can definitely help. Like this, remember. So the same thing was going on over here. Same exact identical scenario where it was trending higher, then it broke down, bounced, broke down. So at this point, this is when you would want to be looking for that sell side entry. If you can couple that alongside with an objective higher time frame level, like a daily support or something. That doesn't mean there's one there. I'm just saying if you can ever get into a scenario like that, then you have multiple confluences. So that anybody that sold this most likely took profits because they got their move lower. This move lower is a perfect measured move of this lower move. Well, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to have to do it over here. So let's do it over there. There's your measure move. So this leg of price lower, the breakdown, the consolidation sideways, chopped up into that. So anybody that sold this, their profit target was these wicks. Like that was their profit target, and they exit. That causes more sideways chop. But this is a buy rip, like a rip I'm talking about. This changes that dynamic. So at this point, people are no longer looking to sell into pullbacks. They're looking for buying opportunities just because of that. Boom. Now, obviously, you got another leg higher right off the rip. So something happened here. You exhausted the sell side activity. This was like an exhaustion. So price aggregated higher looking for supply. Supply's exhausted down here. So it aggregates up looking for more supply. Demand creeps up from here to here. But anyway, you can see how this has basically kept buyers on the right side of the market the whole time. This one line here, just, yeah. You're always looking to buy support wherever support forms. But now we've changed that dynamic. Moving forward on Bonk, now the buyers will have to prove. Now the buyers will be the ones that have to prove it. So from now on, every time this thing chops sideways back and forth, creates a range, any retest on the 100 from this point on will likely be buying or being selling opportunities. Oh, I forgot to, sorry. I'm trying to do something here. So we'll just extend this out here in time, right? We'll extend that out there in time. And then you can build in a chop zone. Out here somewhere. Right? You're going to see some chop. So anytime it comes back into that, people are going to be looking to sell. Unless you get something that looks like that, then that will change that dynamic. So you get any of this in the future, then people will be looking to buy it. Simple things. It's just trend following, right? Just trend following. That's all we're ever trying to do. We're just trying to identify those best opportunities. And today that opportunity was lower. The only reason I didn't participate in it with you guys is because I didn't want to ruin my cost basis. If I would have sold it down here, that would have brought my entry all the way under this resistance line. And this is a key resistance level. Now, I don't think that it's going to trade back up to this level. I wouldn't want to see that. Then that would change the dynamic. So now moving on, I will wait for another key resistance level to build in. And then I'll look to add to that position in the future for any downside continuation that it wants to give me. If it even wants to give me any downside continuation. But that trade is looking good. We'll go up to the top monitor and let you see that for yourself. Let's go to the 30-minute. So here is 9:30. So this is the 9:30 open. We traded up to that 100 exponential. Also, the intraday volume weighted average price was there. So you had multiple confluences to take the short there. If I would have entered into a trade with this all the way down here, that would have brought my cost basis from here all the way to like in this area. And then that would have put me under resistance. This is resistance. So that would have put me like right in this area short. So that's risky, because if it would have broken out for another retest of this, I would have gotten stopped out of that short. So I was just managing that trade to the best of my ability as a risk manager. But it's looking good now because we got the downside continuation. So the trade went from being up a couple $100 to now being up $480. And that's with a very small position size, because this thing moves. We're down 6.7% on the day right now on Bonk. Bitcoin is still trading at -1%. This is trading at -6%. This moves a lot more than Bitcoin does. That's why these things are so fun to trade. But retail gets blown up a lot, like, because they don't understand the gravity of that. Like, these things are moving, man. If you throw any leverage on that position, it's going to move significantly worse. 20 times worse. But what's Fartcoin doing now after making a fresh daily low? Really nothing. So yeah, we've lost the support, or we've lost the uptrend here. And now I can't be a buyer on Fartcoin again until the dynamic changes. Until I get a white candle or an up candle. Your charts might be a different color. Until I get a candle like this, and that breaks out above this moving average here. Because as of right now, the sellers are going to put pressure on it. So we'll see how it plays out in the next couple of days. See if the buyers step up here or not. Or if the sellers run the gamut on this thing. Because if the sellers are going to run the gamut on it, guess what I want to be? I want to be a seller, not a buyer. I'm not going to allow my daily bias to stop me from potentially making some money on an intraday basis. But we do have to be aware that the daily bias is still up. We're just seeing a down day today. But this is definitely still up. The buyers are losing momentum right now, but they still can get it. So your RSI is right now, not yet, but if you get another lower low on the day, you're going to be testing the 60 on the RSI. So here's your breakout above the 60, right? This candle, that's the breakout candle. These 2 days could still just be pullbacks on the larger time frame trend. So I'm not super bearish. I still have a bullish bias. If today closes down here though, then that means this is going to more than likely close under it in this area. That will change the dynamic of the trend. It will literally say you're still bullish on the trend, but you've lost your huge bullish momentum. When you're above 60 on the RSI, you have a lot of bullish momentum even, but you won't anymore if that takes place. So that will change the context of how strong this trend is, or at least how momentous it is. Risk markets have found their lows. Tesla is above the VWAP. Apple's above the VWAP. Nvidia and Microsoft still very much under. So we could be setting a intraday low on risk markets. I don't think that's going to affect these alts that much, but that's something to keep in mind. You're very bullish. Even if you close negative today, you're still very bullish. It's going to look like a failed breakout, though. So that's going to make next week very interesting. So this weekend, get ready to see a lot of thumbnails on the YouTube world saying, failed breakout, beware, buyers beware, the sellers have won the battle, like all kinds of very negative thumbnails based on this breakout fail, because it is a breakout fail as of right now. Today may close up here. We still got a half a day of trading left. Pepe equals ETH beta. Did you ever give me that ticker? I don't see that ticker still, so I can't look at ETH or Pepe versus ETH or whatever, because I don't know what the ticker is. Coin is ripping to the upside. Yeah, coin is making fresh all-time highs right now, or it's close to making fresh all-time highs, I should say. Nope, you did it. Yep. You made a fresh all-time high on coin. Come on. There you go. Fresh all-time high and then reject for now. But yeah, it looks very strong. Coin also has earnings coming up on July 31st. This month, not next week, but the week after. That'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, definitely super strong right now. Micron, MU. I haven't looked at this ticker in a long time. Let's get our 21 back up, as that gives me my near-term bias on the daily. We're still good on the weekly. What do we look like year to date? We look good year to date. So the trend is definitely up on the year. Fantastic. So is most of your good companies. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. So this looks like a pullback, a near-term correction. I mean, June was a fantastic month for Micron. You're testing the midpoint now. I wouldn't want to see a daily close below yesterday's close. So if you can hold 113.26 as support, which you are currently doing, the sellers are in control of the very near-term trend. They got it right there. Boom, sold it. They've had it. They're going to have it again up here. So you've got that to worry about. I do like Micron, but the near term is what's putting the pressure on it. It's not the long-term charts. The near-term charts is what's putting the sell-side pressure on Micron. So knowing that, we could see multiple days of chop here, right? We could see several days of sideways price action here in this area because the near term is weak. So maybe today isn't the day to be a buyer on Micron. Maybe it's a little bit early. Maybe the best time to be a buyer on Micron will be next week or the week after. If we get something like this, right? If you get something like that, and then price is up here, chopping around. Maybe then it'll be good to look for a daily support zone to then be a buyer on Micron when you're doing this on an intraday basis. You can't be a buyer today, because if you buy it today at the support, your upside is going to be limited. Let's get some trap music going. Your upside's going to be limited as to what you can expect, because you know sellers are going to hammer it at 115.30, 115.40. You're going to have intraday profit takers and longer term sellers. So Micron, if it can hold support, I like it for upside continuation, but it's just now starting to build in that sideways consolidation. We need a bigger zone of consolidation to last for a couple of days. So Monday, Tuesday into next week, if it can get above even pre-market, if it can do something like this, what it's doing with the 21, if it can do that with the 100 on a 30-minute time frame, and you have a daily support level to watch, then that would be the time to attack it to the upside, to look for the buy, whether you're buying calls or just buying shares. So keep Micron on watch, because at any point you could get a dynamic candle, like a gigantic boom. You don't want to chase it or try to buy the momentum. You want to wait for it to come back in as a retest and then attack it. Right? That. So keep it on watch for Monday, Tuesday, maybe even into Wednesday next week. I think you'll have a little bit more data, then you'll be able to make a better decision. Buying it right now just means you're buying it when you still have pretty heavy sell side activity in the stock. But longer term, it looks good. It looks good as long as you're above the midpoint. I mean, either one of these three areas, it still looks okay for the upside. I think right now you just want to leave it alone. You just broke down. So right now, for the near term, you still have that semi-bearish momentum. PayPal Lulu. We'll look at PayPal. So you're testing a very big level here. Is 2023's yearly opening range. So it is a big level, but you're bearish on the year. So PayPal is suffering on the 2025 range. It's looking like it's trying to put in like a cup and handle or something like that on a larger time frame. I like the fact that you put in the lows down here in April and bounced, but you've been sideways and you've been consolidating for this long period of time on PayPal. It still looks good, and we have what we want here. See how many days it took? This day right here was a bull trap, clearly. Boom! Oh, this brought in all those buyers, those impatient buyers. And then you gapped down under their entries the next day. That caused forced liquidations. And then this right here put the freaking hammer down on them. This right here blew accounts probably. And then, because look what happened right after. Like this move right here exhausted the sell side. They're exhausted. They're done. Proof is here. So any shorts that sold in here, they are stuck city, baby. Stuck city. So where do we watch? Well, we can watch this level. That's a big level here. What we got on a daily? We really don't have anything to watch on the daily. We still have to be careful because this could be a bull trap, but it is working out. Yeah. We could probably, well, let me see here. Let me pull up PayPal on, let me get the options. This might be, we might be able to trade this right now. This might be a setup today. Let me, well, maybe not today, maybe Monday. You got earnings. Oh shit. Earnings coming up close. Damn it. That's going to really put a hindrance on this. So I'm not going to trade it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this thing can chop city until earnings. Which is next week, but the week after. It'll be on Tuesday. That's going, see, because if they have bad earnings, you can see a big gap down. This overall structure looks bullish because all of this is your lows that you set in April, and then you had a nice bullish reaction. That's a wrong tool. There it is. Like all of this stuff right in here, all of that. That's all bullish. Damn you. This stuff. All the candles in this circle. All of this. That's a bullish leg of price action, and then you have this square of consolidation. So the breakout above $77, you're probably going to see a big rip. Getting in it now, expecting it to happen. If the earnings was like a month and a half away or something, then we would take this trade today. But since earnings is not next week, but the week after that, it's too close to earnings. So you're probably just going to see Chop City. But the options are tight and they're heavily traded. So if you wanted to buy it today, I would probably go out like 30 days. And I wouldn't have a huge target. So like if I bought the 73 strike call or the 72.50s, I would take profits up here into daily res at 75.70. It's a $2 move. They're expensive. The options are expensive, so that'd be a couple $100 if you won, or if the trade moved in your direction. But this is what's going to hurt PayPal. Not hurt it, but I mean it hurts to take the trade today. It hurts the trade today. But I think as long as you're holding this, I like it to the upside. With the caveat that it could be choppy for the next several days. So if you get in it, you definitely want to see it start to trend away from that area pretty quickly within the first couple days. If you don't get that move, then it's probably going to be a wait until earnings trade. Lululemon. It's bearish on the year. It got sold off on good earnings. I guess the earnings wasn't that good. I don't understand the sell-off, but it was a big sell-off. Something happened here. They did not like it. You're at the bottom of a range. You just set a fresh, 2-year lows. You liquidated the yearly low and you did not get a liquidation break. This looks like the selling pressure is still in Lulu. I don't know what's going on, why it's getting beat up, but you just made fresh yearly lows. So your trend on Lulu long term is down, not up. It's down. And the downside target in July is June's low. So I wouldn't sell it right here where it is right now. Yeah, it's too far away, stretched out away from that 21 on a weekly. I could, for the very near term trade, I could watch that weekly high for a liquidation break back under. So I couldn't be a seller on Lulu until we get a reaction at 252. I want to see what happens there. Do we break out and get upside continuation, or do we break out and trade back down into the range? If that were to happen, then I would probably sell calls like 260s, 270, 280s. Could take it that way, or you could just buy a near term in the money, right at the money put for it to trade lower. But here right now, there's not a trade to take. It's definitely not a buy. It's definitely a sell. There's just not a trade to take. Not here. See, this right here would have smoked us. We would have sold into that. We would have got handed. But this day would have been a better trade day. For sure. After that, that's a bull trap. We would have been sellers here. 237, we would have been in that trade 2 days. In hindsight, clearly, but still. So I wouldn't do anything with it right now because this is the top of the range. Could you be a buyer on the near term and anticipation that your downtrend is over for a minute, since you got so close to liquidating June's low and you didn't? Yeah, you could, but it's a very risky trade. This thing moves. It moves a lot. Some people are going to be selling resistance, as right here is resistance, but not me. I think it's too much in the middle of the range, so you can just expect some more chop, more than likely. I think the trade on Lulu would be up here, depending on the reaction we got. It's too early to tell if you've got a trend reversal here or not. It looks like they're trying to reverse the trend. But your sellers are still in control of this. They're in control of it right now. So you could see, like Monday, Tuesday, you could see it start to head lower for that June low lick. And then after you get the June low lick, if you get back up in that range, maybe then you could be a buyer and have a large long-term 252 target. But there's a reason why this got sold off so hard. And the sellers have been hammering it down the stairway. Boom, 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 boom. So I would probably leave Lululemon alone for a little bit. Let it figure out what it wants to do. Long term, it's weak. I wouldn't want to be holding this long term for any kind of growth. But I mean, it is cheap. I mean, you're in a 2-year downtrend. We're just not seeing those buyers step up just yet. Hang on, let me look at the volume before I say that. Yeah, no. I'm not seeing it. If these volume bars were bigger, then I could say, yeah, maybe, but no. you're not even seeing average volume. Well, yeah, that's average volume. This is average. You're above average, but just barely. This low is so close. I would probably want to see a liquidation of that low, and then see if you get a huge spike in volume on that day and you close back into the range. If that happens, you could have a longer term target of 250. But yeah, it's just too crazy right now. I wanted to look at one other thing just to kind of see where it is. I don't love the long. I mean, I don't love the short right here today. Yeah, I don't love the short. I would wait for a retest of that probably. And then I don't even know. It's just the June low has to be the target to the downside. But the last 2 days, you did experience a pretty significant bounce. So just not seeing that be confirmed with volume. Be careful with it. It's a dangerous one. Clean spark or clear spark. This is also a Bitcoin miner. Clean spark. Yeah, Bitcoin's down on the day, so it's... This is too. But, I mean, it's rallied. It's rallied with Bitcoin. Same thing goes for this. There's just so much more products to be able to get involved. So be careful. If you own it for much cheaper, I wouldn't have a problem with taking profits. If you're owning it long term, as long as they make money, I don't have a problem with owning it long term. But they have to make money. If they don't make money, then I don't own it long term. That's my rule. For me to own a company long term, they have to make money. It cannot be a dead company. I don't know if they're making money or not, but they're definitely getting bullish sympathy off of Bitcoin because they're Bitcoin miners. I think, like with this, I would rather just be in Bitcoin. Can you explain how cumulative delta volume works? Cumulative volume delta works off of a footprint chart. It's just another indicator. You can't see all the volume no matter what, because people can buy and sell things off exchange, right? They can do it via lawyers. They can do it in many different ways. So it doesn't show us all the volume. It just shows us the volume that's recorded. And it's a footprint candlestick. So like on the near term, it shows us where the bias is. So if you pulled up a footprint chart, for instance, you're going to get your volume on the ask and bid in each candle. So this is the ask, this is the bid. If you look down here in this 5-minute candle, you're going to see a delta of minus 21K shares. So that just means that in this 5-minute window, there were a lot more asks hitting faster on market, right, than the bids were. So you got two different ways that you can buy and sell. You can buy on a limit or you can buy on market. Same goes for the sell side. You can sell on limit or you can sell on market, at market. So whenever you get a delta where it's more skewed to the sell side, that simply says that in this 5-minute period, the sell shares came in more aggressive than the buy limits. So people were hitting the ask on market more than people hit the bid on limit. Okay, so that is your volume delta right there. It's your cumulative volume delta. Well, instead of looking at this, you can look at a normal candlestick chart and pull up a cumulative volume delta indicator. And that's this. So you have a zero line, and you have anything under that is typically, it just means that the sell side or the market sell have been more aggressive for the majority of the day. That doesn't mean that it's going to continue to go lower. It just gives us an idea of who is controlling the market, but you can simply see that with the candles. When I'm looking at cumulative volume delta, I'm generally trying to see if a level that I'm looking at, that I'm using to basically give me a position to take a trade in the open market, I want to watch cumulative volume delta on a very small time frame to let me know what's going on right now. Like what I was doing with Fartcoin, right? Earlier. You can see how strong that volume delta is. So when we broke down out of this consolidation earlier, the delta was so aggressive. That's why I didn't rebuy. Like, I'm not going to say, okay, since we're liquidating the lows, now I want to buy it again in case it's a trap. Cumulative volume delta tells you that it is not a trap. It's like it's not a confirmation, but you can use it combined with price to say, whoa, wait a minute, don't jump in front of this, right? Don't be throwing out multiple buy orders to get stopped out, because your cumulative volume delta is showing you that the sell side is aggressive right now. This works really good on a chart like a 30-second. Because you can see that volume come in heavily. So it doesn't always work. Like through here, your cumulative volume delta was telling you that you were seeing more selling than buying. Boom. See that? But even though price still migrated higher or aggregated higher, even though the delta was to the sell side. Same goes for the next candle and the next candle and the next candle. So I wouldn't want to buy in front of this, and I definitely wouldn't want to buy if I'm seeing this. That's telling me that it's divergent. So even though price is going up, I don't want to be a buyer because the ask side is super aggressive, even though price is going up. It just helps me stay out of the market more than it helps me take a trade, right? And that's all I would want you to use it for. If you're a scalper, it's a scalper's tool. It's what it is. It's designed specifically for a scalper, and it's going to help you stay out. So like, if you're trying to catch a short on hype right now, you shouldn't be, because it's already right now where it is. It's down 2.36%. Hype's usual day is 2 to 4%. That's a normal daily range for hype. That's a very consistent day. So this could be the day low. So you definitely don't want to short it. Even if price goes lower, it's still just going to keep you out of trouble. Right now you're chopping sideways. You have been for a long time at the daily lows. Are you seeing any buy volume here to force you into a long trade? The answer to that is no. You're not seeing any big bids come. Now, if you start seeing big bids come and you get back above the zero line, then maybe you could buy. But even still, that will get you into trouble. I would recommend that if you use this tool, you use it to help you stay out of the market. Don't use it to help you get into the market. You should already have a trade plan. You should already know what you're looking for before you ever execute a live position. This tool will just help me, like it did earlier when we were on Fartcoin. When we were putting in this consolidation pattern here, I did not like the volume delta, especially since we came into the consolidation from a heavy sell side. Generally, we're going to look for downside continuation through that. So even though you got big volume spikes here that suggested you were seeing buyers show up, they didn't last for long. And then price rolled over, and then look, your asks started getting hit harder and faster. Boom. So this will keep you from buying daily lows, trying to get in front of bearish momentum. You can never see into the future. You will never know what one tick is going to do by any indicator. But right now, cumulative volume delta is suggesting that maybe this is the near-term low on Fartcoin. But that's only going to be saying that until we start to see heavy volume to the downside again, because the pressure is already to the downside. Yeah, it's just a tool. But like I said, the iceberg orders, you can't see them anyway. That's why they call them icebergs. You won't see that on this indicator. There could literally be a big buyer soaking up all of the asks, and it won't even show on level 2 data. This is just level 2 data. I just use it to kind of give me a little bit of an idea. So when we made this low, I said I want to jump in real quick just to see if this is a trap, like this whole move. But we seen real quick that it wasn't. Real quick, we knew we were probably on the wrong side of the market. It's just another way to help you stay out of trouble. In other words, when and why did you begin looking at these smaller time frames? Because people like them. A lot of people like them. I don't need anything smaller than a 4-hour. When I'm when I'm done in the office, I have like a big spread, right? I got 5 monitors, a big desk. I got all my tools right here. But when I get out of here every day around noon, I leave the office and I go to the living room. I turn on my TV and I eat lunch. Then I pull up a laptop. I never look at anything smaller than a 4-hour chart. This is what I look at out of my office. It'll stay on this chart, just like that. I don't look and need the smaller time frames to take an entry or an exit. I do it because most people hate staring at these big time frame candles. Most people won't even watch your video if you're on a high time frame candle. They'll click on your video. If you're on a 4-hour or a daily chart, they'll go right away. Boom, out of here. Especially your intraday scalpers. They're looking at 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute charts. This is what everybody's looking at. Right here. Yep. There's not enough range in a 1 minute, 5 minute, or even a 15-minute candle to make money. So I don't see why people look at it. You're definitely not going to be looking at a 1 minute chart to get a 4-hour or an 8-hour or a daily support. Yeah, it's to me, this is a useless time frame to look at, because this type of price action is what you most of the time C, or this stuff. If you look at this from 11:30, let's go from 11:30. So right here is 11:30 to where we are now, 12:12. That's 45 minutes, give or take 3 minutes. What have you done since this candle opened? Nothing. So why not just look at a 15-minute candle? Here's that one same point. You can see the exact same data, only with less slop, with less sideways garbage. I would recommend everybody get used to looking at hourly or 30-minute at the lowest candles. You'll just do much better because you can see what's actually taking place a lot better. With a 30-minute chart, I can see 5 days of data right here. 5 days of data. I can clearly see that even though we're making a fresh daily low here a while ago, an hour and a half ago, we're still trading there at that low. We're still there. So if you shorted the low, you're not making money because you're still there. You need an expansion to make money in this game. Yeah. This is so much cleaner to look at than all those 1 minute, 30-second charts. Much cleaner. You can see exactly what took place. London sold the market. That's your London session open. This candle, 2 a.m. That's when the London session opened. 30 minutes later, you liquidated that high and closed bearish. And then you took out this candle's low with a closing 30-minute candle. You can see that London sold the market. Then we come into a period of sideways, usually from 4 to 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, all the way to 9:30. You did nothing at all. 9:30, right here is New York. They traded above the intraday VWAP for about 30 minutes, and then you closed under it. You could have literally hit the ask right then and there with a sell entry. Boom. At that 30-minute close with a stop above that high, because you closed back under at 9:30. This is a 10 o'clock candle opening right here. You literally could have hit the short button right there, stop right there, and been done. Day done. 2 to 1 risk to reward. You hit it within 30 minutes. Boom. This is when the most volume comes in. This is your last session open for this daily candles range. You will not get any more opens for the rest of the day. This day will close out, and then a new day candle will open, and then the Asian session open will happen. So this day will be set in stone. It'll be over and in the past. You will have new day, new data. A new day and new data. So, yeah, it's useless to me. I don't look at them. I don't care about them. 30 minutes as low as I need to go. I don't even need to go that low. I'm just trying to help people get off of the 1 and 5 minute charts. You can't see anything. You can't use anything, really. It's useless. Just put on a 100 EMA if you're a small time frame trader and just watch the 30-minute chart. It'll show you how far away are you below this level, how far away are you above it. Like, if you're way far away, you know you don't want to be buying it If you're not even close to it, you know, maybe it's a sell, maybe it's not. You don't want to be selling it unless price is trending under it. See, we're getting this right now over here, but it's going to take time. We just closed the 4-hour candle just now. Oh, you're testing a potential support zone here. You definitely don't want to be a seller right down here. So even though the 30-minute says we're breaking the uptrend, the next 4-hour close may be back up here. Then the trend is still intact. And this will have been a trap. If you get downside continuation for the rest of the day, then tomorrow and the next day, you might want to watch to be a seller on retests of that level. But the main higher time frame trend is still up. As long as July's volume weighted average price is down here, you really got to be careful being a seller. And the markets are bullish. Today's a pullback day, but the markets are still bullish. Fart dying. Yep, it is today. Virtual stopped my short and then dumped. Yeah, that always is fun, right? I love it when that happens. Just kidding. That's exactly what happened to me on Fartcoin the other day. I bought it before we went live. Went live, made $400, took profits, and then it came down, stopped me out, and then it ripped for like 3 days to the upside after stopping me out. That's going to happen to you forever. It's never going to stop. And then nice analysis on MU Borsky. Yep. We'll give it a couple days. I'm going to put it on watch for sure, because that is going to be a trade to watch. Yep. Wait a minute. What just happened where it didn't put it on? All right, we're going to wrap this up, guys. Happy weekend, everybody. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. Oh, Doge. Yeah, let's look at Doge. Yeah, MU's not a trade right now, guys. It will be next week, potentially. Potentially. We'll check it out. And then here's Doge. I want you to look at this right here for a second. I'm going to toot my own horn for just a second. See, the other day we were analyzing Doge and we were looking for potential upside and a potential downside. This isn't the same day. So that day when we put this on, we didn't get the move. It stayed choppy. It stayed inside the midpoint of the upside range and inside the midpoint of the downside range. A very choppy price action. Look at this wick. Almost perfect to there. And here. And then look at this close right here. Just above. And then you opened a new daily candle right there. So the last hour and a half of Thursday was trading just in that top area there. That indicator is such a useful tool for getting price targets. But I mean, it still looks really good. Clearly this thing is rolling over for now. I don't want to be a buyer or a seller on Doge. It's testing a huge level as resistance. It's an old weekly support level. It's also a weekly supply zone. Clearly a lot of resistance here in the past, and it's acting as resistance right now. Today's a down day, so we're pulling back. That's about all it's doing. So there's your day open. That's the daily range open. So Doge had a good day today. just not at the New York Open. Right here was the New York Open. So you had a fake out move to the upside. That was a liquidation above the daily high and a rejection. So you're probably going to see continuation lower for a couple of days. Yeah, the weekend is coming up. Look how far away you are from the 1 hour or the 30-minute 100 EMA. I'd say by Sunday, you'll probably be meeting up with it, right? Unless you get a very big down day today, then you'll meet up with it much quicker. But if you stay choppy for today and tomorrow, Sunday, it should be catching up. Hell, you might catch up sooner. You might actually catch it today or tomorrow, actually. But even then, you're going to have to beware. The slop chop, the weekend slop chop, it's coming. It's coming. The weekend is here, man. It sucks, but there's still sometimes a couple opportunities to be had on the weekend. We're not seeing downside continuation on the Bonk short. I told you, look for a little bit of slop chop right in here. That's that monthly VWAP. People are buying that. They're buying it. If it can stay under the 100, I'm not going to do anything with it. If it can stay under this line right here, I'm going to add to my short. I expect a little bit of wiggle here, and the wiggle could take a couple days since the weekend is here. And it might be Monday or Tuesday before we actually get the breakdown, if we even get the breakdown. This thing is still extremely bullish. Your 21 exponential on the daily time frame is all the way down here. I mean, that is super bullish. Your Momo buyers are hammering this thing. This might even be a buy, or it might have been a buy. Look at that reaction. Bullish, isn't a bullish engulfing. All right, it needs to hold that 4-hour support as resistance for me, for my short to stay relevant. On the very near term, it's aggressively being bought right now. Aggressively being bought based on that. Now, this short might be over. I'm wondering if I should close this thing down. No, I'll tell you what, if you want to buy Bonk, if you think it's still got upside, remember, any day now, you're going to get the news on the ETF. The SEC is going to drop some news. They're going to say yes on the ETF, or they're going to say no on the ETF. If they say no on the ETF, you're giving back most of this, if not all of it. You're going to give a lot of it back. If they say yes on the ETF, this thing could go up for many more days. Many more days as ETF buyers start buying it heavily. So we're just waiting on that ETF news. I would probably stay away from it. But if you want to watch it for a buy here, this is your monthly VWAP. Or is that the weekly? Hang on a second. No, it's just this week. It's just the week. It isn't the month. Where is the month? Oh, I deleted it because it had that. I deleted it because for whatever reason. There we go. So your month VWAP is all the way down here. So yeah, this is the week. Your week is also defending the 50% retracement of the range. This close on Sunday is going to be important. If it's above it, it's going to look more bullish still. But close under it, we'll see. We'll see. Just be careful. It moves fast. A lot. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you guys trade safe and weekend. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see all my channel members and Patreons on Sunday, but for everybody else, we'll see you Monday. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Fantastic weekend. Make sure you guys trade safe, trade smart, and as always, happy trading, everybody.